A very good evening. Thank you very much for choosing GHOne TV. It's always a delight when we join you with the happenings throughout the country. Well, tonight is no exception. Stay with us within the next 1 hour as we bring you all the top-notch stories that you are looking forward to. But before we bring you the details, let's look at some of the top stories that we have for you tonight. Coming up in the next 60 minutes, Bawku conflict escalates as some youth warn MPs and government officials against coming to the area, while others set Bawku and Pusika MPs' homes ablaze.
By this statement, notifying all the 6 MPs and other government functionaries from Kusau Kingdom to stay where you are and enjoy your luxuries. We will not entertain your visit into the kingdom. I repeat, stay where you are in your luxury. We will not.
Tonight, details as IGP storms the area over recent violence leading to the death of one and destruction of properties running into several thousands of Ghana cedis. Also coming up tonight, the Minister of Education announces double track system and the free SHS policy will end in 2027. Stay with us as we hear from former PRO of Education Ministry who says the timeline is not feasible. We'll bring you updates from our world of business as Trades Minister assures Ghanaian businesses of measures to mitigate effects of US 10% tariff.
Understand that the imposition of these tariffs raises some concern for Ghanaian business community, especially producers, exporters and investors.
All right, so tonight we're bringing you details of these stories and many more. Don't forget, we'll be updating you with some sports stories, refreshing you with some entertainment news, and also crossing over to other parts of the world where we'll bring you some international news. So stay with us. It's 1 hour packed of good news. Thank you very much for choosing GHOne TV. My name is Kweku. Let's take our very first story for the evening, and here tensions continue to escalate in Bawku in the Upper East region as the Kusog youth movement issues a strong warning to members of parliament and government officials from entering the area. Well, earlier in the day, there were arson attacks on the residence of the Bawku MP, Mahama Ayariga, and Pusiga MP, Ladi Ayamba. The youth accused their elected leaders of betrayal amid ongoing conflict and demand immediate action to restore peace and justice. There's more in the following report.
In a bold statement issued on Thursday, April 10, 2025, the youth movement warned all members of parliament and government representatives against entering the Kusok traditional area in Bawku until the ongoing conflict is resolved. Reading on behalf of the movement, spokesperson Mohammed Isaku accused MPs from the area of betraying the people who voted them into office. According to the group, promises made during elections have been broken, and their silence in the face of ongoing violence and insecurity is unacceptable.
We don't need any favors from government. We demand you to enforce the laws as you promised when you came to Bawku Naba Palace. Mr. President, Kusas cannot be deceived by only words. We really mean business. Double standardness is not governance. It is oppression. We are, by this statement, notifying all the 6 MPs and other government functionaries from Kusau Kingdom to stay where you are and enjoy your luxuries. We will not entertain your visit into the kingdom until your deception for vote becomes a reality. You violate our warnings at your own risk. Note, power is transient.
The group has also called for the removal of the parallel chief, which they say is the root of recent disturbances. They are also demanding an independent investigation into alleged killings, human rights violations, and extortion by security forces in Bawku and its environs.
We strongly demand that for peace to return to Bawku, Seydou Abagre, the imposter chief, be arrested and prosecuted in accordance with Ghana laws. An independent international investigation should be formed to probe into the killing of human beings, abuse and extortion of security personnel in Bawku. The Interior Minister should immediately investigate the shooting incidents, arrest and prosecute the callous officers who did that. Transfer all the heads of security and take away all security personnel in Bawku who supervise these unprofessional acts. We, the youth of Kusau, are not calling for war. Yes. We are calling for justice.
Yes. Yes. Justice.
We are calling for dignity.
Yes. Yes.
We are calling for life.
Yes. Yes.
If Ghana government fails us this time, we will seek justice elsewhere in the world.
Meanwhile, tensions reached a boiling point earlier Thursday morning when attempts were made to burn down the private residences of two members of parliament from the area, Mahama Yariga and Ladi Aishitu Ayamba. At Mr. Yariga's residence, attackers reportedly targeted the back of the house, setting a section of the roof sheet on fire before security personnel and caretakers quickly extinguished the flames. At Madam Ladi Ayamba's home, a mattress and part of a security post were set ablaze. In a related development, several police checkpoints within the Bawku municipality have been vandalized. The formed police unit commander at Bawku, ASP Anthony Zumo Baling, has condemned the destruction of property and warned that anyone found culpable will be arrested and prosecuted.
When there is a need, we have the right to apply minimum force. So we shan't countenance what we are witnessing. That kind of lawlessness shall not be entertained. It will be prudent you put the media, see to it that you talk to the people so that they will reason up that the police, we are not part of the conflict. We have the mandate to protect life and property, and as such, apart from that, we have nothing to meddle in whatever they are doing. So they should give us the benefit of the doubt and live with us, and peace shall prevail. We shall interfere in their chieftaincy, and we have no interest. Either they play by our rules or we deal with them drastically. So we are entreating each and every one of them, wherever they are, they should make sure that the police we shall relent. We shall smoke them out wherever we find them. We shall chase them and make sure that the law deals with them. As and when we get them, we shall put them before court.
As tensions remain high, residents continue to call for peace, justice and accountability in restoring normalcy to the troubled area.
All right, so I want to stay on the subject some more. I'll shortly be having a conversation with local authorities and aid to the Bawku Naba and MP for Pusiga. Let's bring you this report on Wednesday's alleged shooting of civilians by police officers enforcing a disputed trading ban. One person has been confirmed dead and several others injured, leading to a violent backlash by angry youth, including the burning of vehicles and property.
Fresh violence has erupted in Bawku, Upper East region, after police allegedly shot 8 civilians on Wednesday around 10 a.m., leaving one person dead and others injured. The incident reportedly occurred in connection with the controversial ban that prevents Kusasis and Mamprusis from conducting business together in the municipality until the long-standing chieftaincy conflict is resolved. According to eyewitness accounts, tensions escalated when Mamprusi women were allegedly denied access to a Kusasi-dominated market, prompting intervention by security forces. During the confrontation, the police reportedly opened fire, injuring 2 individuals identified as Husseini and Ali. In retaliation, enraged youths reportedly set fire to a police vehicle and torched the residence of the divisional police commander. The latest unrest reflects deeper issues underlying the Bawku crisis, including allegations of excessive political interference in chieftaincy matters, a perceived breakdown in law and order, and growing disillusionment among unemployed and frustrated youth living under curfews and ongoing restrictions. Peace advocates say a sustainable solution will only come from mutual trust, restorative justice, and the successful arbitration efforts being led by Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II. The call now is for restraint, dialogue, and the re-evaluation of security tactics that prioritize human rights and trust building over coercion, as Bawku stands at yet another crossroads between conflict and the possibility of lasting peace.
Well, wherever the news is, you can trust GHOne TV to ensure that we bring you all the details. Tonight, we're taking you to the Bawku area where Atongo Kasim Idrisu is a local reporter, and he joins us for updates on this development. Atongo Kasim, thank you very much for your time. What's the current situation in Bawku from where you stand?
All right, so I'd like to say very good evening to viewers and listeners. We are currently in Bawku, and where I am now, there's a calm, and there's totally calm in my area. The curfew was supposed to be 8 p.m., but now they've reviewed it to 6 o'clock p.m. to 6 o'clock a.m. And today, before 6 o'clock p.m., curfew hour, you could see everybody rushing to get home in time. So there's totally calm and totally peace in Bawku as I speak to you now.
The IGP, Christian GHOne, has stormed the area. Has this made any difference? And can you give us a bit of updates on his presence in the area?
All right, so we had the information that he was supposed to be with us this evening. So when we get it, and we were waiting to welcome him into this situation, we later had an information that he will not be able to be with us today, that tomorrow, God willing, tomorrow early in the morning, he joined us in Bawku to talk to the youth. So the youth were in their numbers waiting for him, to hear from him, and also to see whatever they have to tell him. So as we speak now, he was not able to get inside into the Bawku township.
You've stayed on the subject for some time now. Can you tell us the days ahead till now, the level of devastation that you've seen and how it has affected the community?
All right, so within some few days, let me say, for this month particularly, when we got into April, we didn't experience any attack or any destruction in the area. So the day before yesterday, this incident happened. Now, looking at the area, businesses and then the movement has totally gone down. We earlier indicated this to viewers and listeners that majority of the people living in the area has fled away from the town because they feel unsafe living in the town. Movement has totally banned, especially those in town. I'm talking about the Mamprises. How to come out and to go in is totally problem. And also the people also in the Kusas, how to also travel to Kumasi and travel into from Kumasi is also another problem or another worry. So this currently what the people are facing in town, I must say they are not happy with the situation. So that is why they keep on calling on the government to fast track things to make sure he brings the lasting and total peace back to Bawku, for them to shop together or to trade together to revive the Bawku we all know.
Okay, so Parliament is on recess now. We've had the youth of Kusog issue a stern warning. I mean, have you seen any of the 6 MPs make any attempt to intervene in the matter or find themselves in the community?
All right. So before this statement, they released this statement. There was rumors, and there was information that the people who voted for these 6 MPs are beginning to lose trust, because according to some of them, they voted for them to make sure there is total peace in Bawku. Now, when you listen to them, They are not saying they want the government to give them the power or the government to give the man princes the power. But what they have been saying is that they want total peace in town, in the area. And they are also
Unfortunately, the line is frozen in the, well, early on we were able to speak to the minister just as we informed you early on. We were not able to raise him on the line due to circumstances. They agreed to interact with us early on, but we've not been able to raise them. Same with the MP. We believe the home has been touched and we have not been able to raise them on the phone lines to interact. But as and when we're able to get them come on the line, we would want to get some updates, especially as the youth in the community has issued a stern warning that you dare not come to Bawku. Stay in your luxury wherever you are, if you are in Accra. Well, the IGP Christian Tete GHOne is in Bawku tonight with a high-powered delegation of operations, intelligence and investigative officers. Well, his visit to the area follows violent clashes on Wednesday, April 9, between some irate youth and the police. Well, there's more in the following report.
The move by the Inspector General of Police follows violent clashes on Wednesday, April 9, between some irate youth and the police, which tragically resulted in the death of one individual identified as Fusaini Idrisu. 5 others, including a police officer and an immigration officer, sustained gunshot wounds and are currently receiving treatment at medical facilities. The Ghana Police Service, in collaboration with the Ghana Armed Forces, swiftly moved to restore calm to Bawku and its environs. Despite the heavy security presence, the violence led to the destruction of key police properties, including 2 service vehicles, a rented police accommodation in Binduri, and homes belonging to police officers stationed in the area. In response, joint police and military patrols have been intensified across Bawku and surrounding communities to stabilize the situation and prevent further unrest. While in Bawku, IGP GHOne and his team are expected to commensurate with the family of the deceased, visit injured personnel and civilians currently on admission, and interact with officers who lost their homes and property during the clashes. The Ghana Police Service has reiterated its commitment to working closely with the Ghana Armed Forces, traditional leaders, opinion leaders, and all relevant stakeholders to restore peace and maintain law and order in Bawku. The service also calls on residents to remain calm and support ongoing efforts aimed at ensuring long-term stability in the area.
Allow me to say some more in Bawku as David Adoleba is the aide to the Bawku Naba. He joins us via Zoom for a discussion on what is actually happening in Bawku. Well, David, thank you very much for your time. The president visited Bawku Naba shortly after being sworn in, and indications of how solving this particular matter, that's the Bawku chieftaincy dispute, is a priority to him as a president. Well, the IGP now is in town from the reports we have served our viewers. Has he met with the Bawku Naba yet? Has the IGP, Christian Tete GHOne, met with the IGP?
Well, good evening to your cherished viewers. It is important to put on record that we have not yet seen the IGP. We are all aware the IGP is in the region, and then so is likely to meet his overlord, the Zuguran Bawku Naba, tomorrow in the morning. And that is a step in the right direction, because as a leader, if issues of this occur and you come yourself, you are able to get to the root of the matter. And together we, carve a path so that that trust building will be there between civilians and the police. On that note, we'll all be working towards getting lasting peace for the area.
Okay. In an issue of getting lasting peace to Bawku, we've heard from the youth, and one issue they've raised to the leadership of this country is that the having of a parallel chief along the Bawku Naba is one of the basic reasons why these tensions and escalation continually go on. How would you react to this?
Yes, it is sad to note that we have laws in this country. We are all being governed by the constitution of the state, yet a single individual can hold the whole nation to ransom. It is because of the rival chief, Seydou Abagare, that people are dying in Bawku, and nobody seems to care about that. The current GHOne Bawku Naba was in scheme 41 years ago and duly gazetted. Now, in law, or per our laws in this country, anything that is gazetted becomes legal. And so for 41 years, the GHOne has been in office. Yesterday, somebody appeared from nowhere calling himself a Bawku Naba, and that is leading to tension and the killing of a lot of people and the destruction of property. Yet, government institutions or structures are quiet about it. All they know is to bring in more security or to impose curfew or to ban motor riding and a lot. And you and I believe in the fact that if you keep doing the same thing all the time, you will not get different results. We are doing the same thing. The curfews have been imposed. There has been ban on motor riding. There have been killing of civilians by security personnel, serious brutalities. Nobody has been arrested and taken to court during curfew hours. If they arrest, they beat the person, injure the person to go to the hospital, yet nothing is changing. It is only one man, and that is Seydou Abagare. And so we expected the state to have acted by taking Seydou Abagare out of Bawku to ensure that we protect life and property.
The youth have expressed their frustration, especially in the leaders that they voted for. In fact, they've gone ahead from the videos we've received here at GHOne TV studios that, look, you dare not come into Bawku from this time because unless you fulfill your promise to us. Now, can I say same for the Bawku Naba? Are they equally disappointed that as a stool you've not been able, or as a skin you've not been able to resolve this chieftaincy dispute?
Bawku Naba is a calm person, and everybody will attest to that. He is one who accommodates everybody, and he's one who loves people. In this case, we are all surprised. We are mesmerized at the fact that the man that is well revered in the nation today has a rival chief, and nobody is thinking or talking about it. As for the youth, they are being angered. They've suffered enough through the hands of the security, through imposition of curfews. They've lost their jobs. They are hungry and angry. And so when issues of this come, you will expect them to react in the direction they are reacting.
Yes, but Adoliba, my question actually was that, look, they are frustrated with their leaders. Now, do you share the sentiments that, look, the MP, those in authority, have failed these youth, especially with the promises or campaign messages that they shared with them and what is currently transpiring in the area?
By saying that the state have failed the people of Bawku, and we cannot run away from that fact because there's the need for them to enforce the laws. There is the need for them to take out Seydou Abagare, to forestall peace and protect life and property. When this is not happening, then there's leadership failure. There's no doubt about that. So we are all supposed to come together as leadership across board to pick that one person out to ensure that peace returns to the area. We are all saddened about this situation. The GHOne is not equally happy about what is happening. Nobody is happy, including the MPs. from Bawku, they are not happy about what is happening. But there's the need.
I really just have a few minutes to go. I want you to help me with this. One person has lost their life in the process. We're told that this person is very close to the skin. Can you share with us this person who's lost his life in the process, how close he is to the skin? Is he a bodyguard?
Fuseni Kafando is the son of the Bawku Naba. He has worked closely with the Bawku Naba. Anywhere you see Bawku Naba, you find him directly behind. Fuseni has been a youth leader, well respected by the youth, and the youth listens to him. Anytime there are issues of this kind, this is the young man the overlord sends to calm the situation. And yesterday, it was the same thing he was asked to go and do when the police shot at him and killed him. And then so you will not be surprised if the youth are angry and behaving the way they are behaving. Fuseni has always been closer the security, more especially the police. Anytime we have engagement with the leadership of the security, Fuseni has always been part. And there are instances the police will call on him to go and stop the boys if they are acting in a certain direction. That is not good. Today, that man of peace, that man that we use, that man that we believe in, and the youth trusted and listened to, was shot dead. Who will control the youth now? Who will speak to them to listen? How will the youth have hope again when the people that they trust are being shot and killed by the same people who are supposed to protect us?
Adoliba, we can say a big thank you. Yes, you've joined us, shared your thoughts with us. We will be coming back to you as and when we need more information. Once again, we're sincerely grateful. This is News Tonight. Well, we would end insights at this moment. We're coming back shortly with some more local stories to stay. So thank you very much for keeping faith with us. If you're just joining us, the program is News Tonight. We also have some more local stories for you. And here, the Minister for Environment, Science and Technology, Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, has pledged government's commitment to expanding operations of recyclers in a bid to tackle plastic waste and create sustainable jobs for Ghanaians during an event to disburse funds to some 10 selected small, medium enterprises under the Circular Economy Framework for Plastic Sector in Ghana project. The minister urged the beneficiary enterprises to expand their reach to other regions to help deal with waste challenges across the country.
In Ghana alone, approximately 12,710 tons of solid waste are generated daily, but alarmingly, only 10% of this waste is collected and properly disposed of. Over the years, numerous methods and initiatives have been attempted to manage waste, including recycling. This circular economy approach underscores the importance of reusing, recycling, and regenerating materials to create a sustainable environment. In a bid to support small and medium-scale enterprises under the Circular Economy Framework for Plastic Sector in Ghana project, the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology has disbursed the first tranche of a $7 million facility to 10 SMEs funded by the Global Environment Facility through the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO.
Component of the project is anchored on three main objectives, namely preventing plastic leakage into the environment and preventing marine littering. 2, decoupling plastics from fossil fuel feedstocks. And 3, creating an effective after-use economy for plastics. Each of the pilot projects supported under this initiative aligns with and contributes to these objectives. In line with UNIDO's mandate to lead the third industrial development decade for Africa.
While urging beneficiary institutions to make good use of the funds, Minister for Environment, Science and Technology, Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, expressed the ministry's commitment to ramp up the operations of recyclers aiming to tackle the mounting plastic waste crisis whilst creating sustainable jobs for Ghanaians. The minister also advocated for the commercialization of research outputs for key research institutions.
We are trying to see and bridge the gap between research institutions, academia, and industry players. This one, private sector. The research output are so good that they can take advantage of it. So when we have this, we'll bridge the gap between research institutions, academia, and industry players. Commercialize the output. The research is let's see how we can add value so that some research institutions, they can generate some money from the research output. So I think that such a change that will help.
The project is expected to strengthen the capacity of Ghana to transition to a circular economy within a framework that addresses plastic leakage into the country's ocean and waterways and facilitates sustainable plastic management through the National Plastic Management Policy and the National Plastic Action Partnership, and ultimately end marine plastic pollution.
In other stories tonight, Executive Director of Salt and Light Ministry, Reverend Dr. Joyce Aye, is urging government to prioritize investments in women empowerment. While speaking at the Network for Women's Rights in Ghana, I'm talking about Net Right Policy Conference on Gender and Extractives on the theme Gender, Governance and Growth, Rethinking Extractives for Equity. She outlined that the extractive sector, despite its economic potential, often exacerbates gender disparities rather than alleviating them. Or to address this, Dr. Aye is advocating for targeted investments in STEM, technical and vocational training for women, preparing them for roles across the mining, oil and salt industries.
Invest in women's empowerment. We need targeted investments in expanding access to STEM, technical and vocational education and training to prepare women for roles across the value chain in mining, oil and gas, in salt, in the quarry industry, in the clay industry, in all the extractives. 2, improving access to capital and financial services for women entrepreneurs, particularly those in extractive adjacent industries such as logistics, catering, environmental services, and equipment supply. Let's face it.
We're grateful that you've stayed with us till this time of the bulletin. All is set for us to bring you the latest happenings from our world of business. At this moment, and here the Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, Elizabeth Ofosu-Ejare, has assured the Ghanaian business community of series of strategic interventions aimed at shielding local enterprises from the impact of the 10% US tariffs on Ghanaian exports. While addressing the media here in Accra, the Minister expressed confidence that these measures will offer much-needed relief in business most vulnerable to the tariff hikes.
The 10% tariff imposed on Ghana was based on the 2024 trade surplus with the United States. We understand that the imposition of these tariffs raises some concern for Ghanaian business community, especially producers, exporters, and investors. The initial imposition on 2nd April included Ghana in the list of countries with 10% baseline tariff, whilst other countries had a relatively higher tariffs. For example, Cote d'Ivoire had 21%, Nigeria 14%, Lesotho 15%, Madagascar 47%, Botswana 38%, Mauritius 40%, and 31% for South Africa. However, as of last night, before I went to bed, the United States paused its earlier arrangements, which placed all its trading partners under a uniform 10% tariff band for 90 days.
Let's do some more business. Senior stakeholders in Ghana's housing sector are calling for the use of environmentally responsible and locally sourced construction materials to support the delivery of sustainable and affordable housing across the country. While speaking at the 6th Ghana Green Building Summit, the Minister for Works, Housing and Water Resources, Kenneth J, disclosed that government is actively pursuing a district housing program aimed at delivering green and affordable housing solutions to rural and peri-urban communities. There's more in the following report.
According to a report by the African Development Bank, Africa faces an annual infrastructure financing deficit of $130 billion, a gap that continues to affect the rollout of sustainable housing on the continent. In Ghana, the push towards green housing is hindered by the high cost of eco-friendly technologies and the limited availability of sustainable construction materials. Despite these challenges, experts, including the convener of the 2025 Ghana Greenhousing Summit, Seroni Aite Tete, agree that greenhousing is the future of sustainable development. Speaking at the 6th Ghana Green Building Summit, Minister for Works, Housing and Water Resources, Kenneth J, announced that government is advancing a district housing program with the aim to transform the housing landscape by prioritizing sustainability and accessibility for all.
Under the auspices of the Ministry of Works, Housing and Water Resources, we are actively integrating green building principles into our national housing strategies and programs, embedding them within broader urban development initiatives. We aim to nurture an enabling environment where sustainable construction methods become the standard practice rather than an alternative. Integral to realizing this ambition is the district housing program.
Managing Director of the State Housing Company, John Bauer, also made a strong case for the use of locally sourced eco-friendly materials in building homes, emphasizing the importance of reducing the dependency of imported materials and promoting local industry.
We cannot speak sustainability without actually changing the way we do things. And we know how change is difficult in Ghana. And yet we, as State Housing, being the state-mandated institution to provide housing and housing services to Ghanaians, we want to lead that change. We want to lead the development of new technology. We want to lead the development of sustainable practices in our building. And so those are some of the ways we are looking at improving accessibility to housing for Ghanaians.
This year's summit brought together key government officials, industry experts, financial institutions, and construction firms to rethink housing policy, urban infrastructure, design, energy and water efficiency, innovation, and financing for green building projects.
Well, that's all we have for you in business tonight. Do stay with us. We're coming back shortly with some sports updates. We'll also be refreshing with some entertainment news. We'll fill you in with international stories. This is News Tonight. We're back shortly. We're calling the Sports Giant. Tonight it brings you nothing than the best of sports. Benghazi, good evening.
Good evening to you, Kweku, Temeng. And in sports, now in a bid to revive spirit of competition and talent discovery in schools, Education Minister GHOne has announced a comeback of School and Colleges Sports Festival, describing it as a game changer for youth development. The minister said the festival will not only rekindle national interest in school sports, but also serve as a platform to groom future champions for our national teams.
I'm into football, and believe me, I'm sending 6 players to Madrid, who I'm picking from some of the schools. So it's huge potential for young people. So be assured that the Ministry for Youth and Sports, in collaboration with the Ministry of Education and under the leadership of the Ghana Education Service, will reintroduce Sports and Colleges Festival in our schools beginning this year. We will look for resources so that before the end of this year, at least we end the 5-year drought of this initiative. We need to identify and groom young talents and develop them for our national team, whether under 15, under 17, or they would mature even into the Black Stars.
Now, Premier League side Brentford Stadium, the GTEC Stadium, will host the return of the Unity Cup this May. We're having the Afro-Caribbean International Football Championship after 21 years on a break. The tournament has been off, like I said, for over 20 years. Was last held in 2004 and will feature Ghana, its rivals Nigeria, Jamaica, and of course Trinidad and Tobago. The competition will include 2 semi-final games and a final also to be played at the Brentford's home grounds. Now, the tournament will start on Tuesday, 27th of May, with TNT taking on fellow Caribbean nation Jamaica in the first semi-final game, with Nigeria, a 2-time winner, taking on Ghana the following day in the second semi-final game on the 28th of May. The final round of matches will be held on Saturday, 31st of May, featuring a third-place playoff followed by the final game to decide the winner of this year's Unity Cup to be held in London this particular May. Let's do some club football news now. Where Hearts of Oak have started goalkeeper Benjamin Asari's contract that will see him stay at the club until 2027. Asari, whose reputation has risen thanks to his wonderful displays for Ghana, the Black Stars, in the qualifiers for the World Cup last month. Oak. And to end sports, Chelsea have just beaten their opponents in the Conference League by some 4-0. Currently, Man U are in action against Olympique Lyon. That's it for sports.
Well, thank you very much, Benghazi. Let's do some local stories. Now, the Minister of Education, Haruna Idrisu, says government will end the double-track system under the free senior high school policy in year 2027. But the decision comes after years of debate over the effectiveness of the system introduced in year 2018 to accommodate the surge in enrollment following the implementation of the free SHS. We're speaking at a stakeholders engagement with Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools. I'm talking about Charles in Sunyai. The minister said the decision forms part of ongoing efforts by the GHOne Mahama administration to improve infrastructure, reduce classroom congestion, and enhance the overall quality of secondary education across the country.
Next year, you should identify 1 or 2 child schools for major infrastructure investment. So we expect that next year into your formula. You should have a dedicated formula that looks into expanded accommodation, expanded classroom infrastructure for a number of child schools so that you can increase your intake for purposes of supporting government to end the double track system. We expect that by end of year 2027, the double track system must be a thing of the past. And to those who think that we should heal double track system, and those who think it was only politically necessary because of inadequate infrastructure to support the noble dream of expanding access to secondary education. But the reduced contact hours between learners and teachers cannot be a desirable academic training model. It cannot be. And therefore, we all need to work together in order to reverse it.
All right, so let's get a quick reaction to this. Kweku, the former PRO at the ministry, has been reacting to exactly what the minister has been talking about so long as the double track system is concerned.
And that buildings alone will not solve it. And so if you recall, when we were in the helms of affairs, we introduced the STEM schools where we upgraded them to category A, of course, to shape demand and offer quality alternatives so that if a student who selected a school like Presec to read science did not get Presec, then such a student will probably take Apomosu STEM or any of the STEM schools as an alternative. But hey, look, our friends played politics with it. Today, they came into power. And the double track, they promised to phase it out within the first year. That even some of their leading members said they were going to phase it out within a space of 90 days. Now they are telling us they are going to do it within by 2027. And I am saying that if you look at how they handled it, and of course being confronted with the reality, they lack understanding of the policy. And I do not believe that by 2027 they will be able to eliminate it. It is the more reason why I'm saying that the challenge with phasing out the double track is not necessarily a challenge of infrastructure, but it has also more to do with the perfect system that we use during school selection and placement system.
All right, so let's get more. Irene Sam is a deputy PRO for the National Council of Parent-Teacher Association, and she joins me over Zoom to discuss this. Irene, thank you very much for your time. So, former spokesperson of the Education Ministry, Kweku, has spoken on this development. He's talking about the abolition of the double track system. Now, you say the NDC cannot end the double track by 2027. They lack understanding of this policy, and that's by Kweku. How would you react to that? The government says this is going.
Thank you very much. A good evening, your cherished viewers and listeners as well. And I'm so happy for having me here this evening. For us, as an association, we are non-partisan. Therefore, this is what we have always been advocating, that let us leave politics out of education. So whatever somebody has done, if there are shortfalls, let's look at it and see how best we can improve upon it.
Are there shortfalls? Do you want to see it scrapped?
Pardon me, please.
No, so are there shortfalls? Do you want to see this double track system off?
Yes, please. We want to see it off because this forms part of the review that we've always been advocating for, that the pre-senior high school policy needs a review. One of such issues is the double track system, whereby our wards go to school today, the next day they are promoted, today they are vacating, tomorrow they have to go back to school. We don't have a stable calendar. We don't know even their fate yet. I mean, a whole lot of uncertainties and inconsistencies bedeviled the double track system. So we as a council have always advocated for a review, that we should have a look at it, because we see that even with the double track, we still see, infrastructure deficits. So I'm so surprised that the former spokesperson is saying that the double track system is not as a result of infrastructure, but we see that primarily it's infrastructure that has caused double track system to be insisting in the case. Because in the schools where they are running the single track, the numbers are not all that many. But in the double track system, the numbers are huge. Therefore, they have to do double track. Even with double track, they still have the huge numbers in our schools. So we as a council, will be very happy that we have a real look, a review of this double track system, and then see the way forward in making education better for our children.
Irene Sam, thank you very much for joining us tonight. I'm sure your point has been well made. I'm sure as and when we would need her on other matters, we'll be engaging her. It's now time for us to bring you some international news. On international front, 2 American Airlines jets had a minor collision on a runway at Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport just 3 months after a deadly crash near the Federal Aviation Administration said the wingtip of one aircraft struck another on Thursday afternoon. At least 2 members of Congress were aboard one of the jets. Nick LaLota, a New York Republican, said no one was hurt with the wing of their stationary plane was bumped by another jet. 67 people died on 29 January when an Army helicopter collided in mid-air with a jetliner as it landed at the same airport. So yes, this time no casualties recorded. So we're grateful that you kept faith with us, staying with us throughout the bulletin. My name is Kweku Temeng. On behalf of the entire production team tonight, I would want to say a big thank you that you stayed with us. We are back here tomorrow morning with some more information for you. But in between that, this is the right station to keep your channel. Enjoy the rest of your evening.